Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Tuesday Takeaways. And today I'm here with Renee Puvvada, who is going to illuminate for us how we are able to use a self published book to actually boost our authority and boost our income along the way, right? And she's going to take us through all of the little details of how that works. So I know you're going to love this episode. Renee, welcome.
Thank you, Eva. It was so kind of you to invite me and to speak words of somewhat wisdom on your audience.
There's going to be a lot of wisdom because I know you have a lot of wisdom around that. And I know that my audience and your audience, of course, want to hear so much more about all of this. And we
Sure.
both have helped Valerie to, boost her business, right? And so I was, kind of doing some business coaching and you were doing some book coaching. So we're going to use
Yes.
Valerie as one of our examples for
Mhm.
launching that book and how that can work. But can you tell us more about exactly what you do and like what is the juicy benefit of actually like having this book?
Yes. Um, in a nutshell, I would say that, you and I, we're on social media, we're on Substack, we're making content all the time. And like in 2025 and beyond, there's just going to be, and with AI, it's just an inundation of content. Like you don't even know where to make sense of everything. And if you're building your business and trying to stand out and you're trying to find a solution and have and attract, attract and be the signal and the noise for your target clients, content can be really noisy. And how do you stand out? How can you be the signal in the noise? And even with publishing a book is a great way to be a signal in the noise. You have immediate authority. When it also attracts a kind of person who wants to go deep with you rather than just going, consuming, small amounts of content. But when you write a really good book, a book that's so good that people have to talk about it, and then all of a sudden, Juliet's talking to Mary, Mary's talking to Janice, Janice is talking to Josephine about your book. That's when you have this tool it's your book becomes your employee. And you have this, yeah, it's like a cell tower in all the noise that's happening with all the content that's being produced 24/7 with the internet and AI and everything. Having an amazing book that people talk about and refer back to and you become known for, having a signature book is a key way to stand out in 2025 and beyond.
Absolutely, absolutely. With and
Mhm.
we're putting out so much content, I feel like we can kind of easily kind of drop drip by drip, right? Write our
Yes.
book, or even
Yeah.
what do you think about like using Substack and the
Mhm.
newsletters over here as chapters of the book?
Yeah. I don't see why not. I personally have never done it that I haven't never done that. But it makes a lot of sense. And one thing I tell my audience all the time is, doing the marketing up front. And by marketing, I don't necessarily mean just by promoting it up front. What I do mean is getting really clear on what problem your audience continues to have despite all the Substacks lives you're doing, all the newsletters you're continuing to make, and all the YouTube that there's out there, all your competitors and all the people that are talking about the same thing, they still have the same problem. And so getting really clear on your market's problems, their thoughts, their limiting beliefs, the hamster wheel in their mind. And once you have that clarity, you can be really confident about writing, knowing that your book is going to do well. And that is a process. And so sometimes people like to do that process in public. Some people call it like building in public. Um, like Tom Kugler he had this he's a blogger on Substack too, and he had this LinkedIn banner one time where he said, "I'm building my business in public," and that's a similar feel where you can like target make sure that your market precision for your book is you're just doing it in public. Some people do it in private, some people do it in public. James Clear did it technically in public when he wrote like 5,000 blog posts before he wrote Atomic Habits. Similar thing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of like up to us how we want to go about it,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Depending
Yeah.
on what people are comfortable with. Me, as in human design, as a line two, profile line two, I like to do my things in private.
Sure.
Someone,
Yeah.
right? As someone who's a line five or maybe like a line three might enjoy doing it,
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
public, and that's okay. But what really
Mhm.
constitutes like a good book? Because now, like, in my mind, right, if we're, coaches, service providers, right, if we're taking people on a transformational journey, right, or we're teaching people something, right,
100%. Yeah.
there's a
Mhm.
specific type of book that really works well. And now I'm thinking of like Alex Hermosi, who recently had the biggest, like they broke the Guinness record, right,
Yeah.
for the book launch that they had, right, and he has a whole bunch of books, right? Like
Yeah.
$100 million offers, $100 million leads, right?
That's
All
right.
of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, right? So
Mhm.
basically, he's putting his proprietary systems
Yes.
inside of those books, right? But then on
Yes.
the other hand, we have people like our client Valerie who took her method, right? So, like her entire method and how she guides people through the transformational journey, right? Her fluid
Yes.
method, and by the way, guys, like Valerie was here on the live with me a couple of episodes ago, so you can go check that out. But she took that method and she put it in a book. So that's another way to kind of go about it, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what kind of constitutes a really good book, right?
Yeah. It's a really good question. Yeah. Um, and that is the $1 million question. And I personally have my own opinion on this. And it does include including your signature method in it. And it also includes your stories in it as well. Um, and I liked how you mentioned like Valerie, like she has a signature method that helps her stand out from all the other coaches that are doing something similar to her, and it's hers and hers alone. And it makes sense. Like when someone has never heard of Valerie before, they read about fluid and maybe they make like a little mini transformation. That's the goal, making it a mini transformation um in them so that they get a taste. They're like, "Ooh, I love living in this fluid method way. I love that my life feels better. I love the way that I feel. I love the way that my life feels." And so when they get the taste, it's like at Costco when you get a little sample of something, then you're like, I really love this smoothie that this Vitamix blender made. I really want the Vitamix now.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really the ultimate goal is if you can think of your book as the Costco sample of what you do in total. Um, so what I teach my clients is that you definitely want to bring your readers through that mini transformation. So for example, like Valerie does the fluid method and her books, her chapters are the fluid method as the chapters, as the sections of her book, which is great.
Yeah.
And there's one maybe there's actually two things, but one major thing that we love to emphasize is including your stories in every at the beginning of each chapter. So for example, if Valerie has the fluid book, it's a 6-step method, and for example, she has 6 chapters, and she opened each chapter with a story that was related to that part of the chapter. She could lean into connection. She could lean into how she developed that part of the method. It would feel authentic. It would feel real. It would feel like you got to know Valerie as not just an author, but as a human being. Um, that's that the doors of connection really start to open between you and the author. And if you're wanting to write a book between you and your reader and your potential high ticket client that is
Mhm.
down the pipeline from your book. Um so have a story and have your signature method placed out in different chapters and then end each chapter with a really quick win, like a little action guide that can get them to start making a little bit like a bite-sized action step to implement that chapter in their life. And some key books that follow this method or this formula, so to speak, are Mike Michalowicz's books. Mike Michalowicz is an entrepreneur author. He sold over 1 million copies of his books, and he follows this formula, opening each
Mhm.
chapter with a story, has
Mhm.
the signature method as the chapter, and then ends it with a quick action guide. Mike Michalowicz, Jessica's Why, Jen Sincero, and it's a
Jen.
very common, very successful
Yes.
method, and it leads people straight to wanting to work with you. I've seen it before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like Johnson Sarah, in my opinion, like I love her
Oh yeah,
books. Like they were one of the
yes,
first books that I was like really reading when I was kind of getting into
same.
personal development and all
Oh
of
my
that.
gosh,
Like
same.
her
Yes,
her way of writing. Like I
yeah,
even at the beginning of my, marketing kind of career and starting my business, I wrote a little like lead magnet that was all about like how to write like Johnson Sarah. Like
really.
that. Absolutely. Like I analyzed the
I
hell
want to
out
learn.
of
I want to
her.
write like her. She's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love her so much because of the tone of voice that she
Yeah.
has, right? Like, the style of writing, right? The analogies that she uses, the juicy adjectives. Yes, Simone is, like, absolutely agreeing. Let us know, guys, if you read the books.
Yeah.
And I love, like, the structure that she had, and this is exactly what you're talking about. She
Yeah.
always opens up with this kind of very relatable, like, messy situation that she was in,
Yeah.
right? And she had her like little breakdown moment and she was like, or sometimes you can even be like, oh, I had this breakdown. I tried all of these other things. They didn't work. And
Yes.
that's why I was forced to figure this
Yes.
out.
Yes.
And this created the transformation because it worked on, let's say, a somatic level, a mindset level, an emotional level, whatever it is,
Right.
right? And then it's like, oh, it opened up all of these benefits. It basically uses this like age-old psychology of persuasion or communication, which is like before, after, and the bridge, right? Like you're
Okay.
giving us a little rundown of like here's where I was, right? And here's where I am right now and like what made it happen was this thing. And then she ends every chapter with those little like, journaling prompts to help you
Right.
shift your mind and it's absolutely
Right.
amazing. Like I
Right.
love her books like You Are a Badass and You're a Badass at Making Money and there's I think one or two more like,
Right.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So I love her, and I love the other authors. I'm writing them down, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go and check those out because I haven't gone into all of it.
There's
Um,
so many. There's as soon as you start to like find one, then you're like, oh, there's another. This is like my life. Like I'm always at the bookstore, at the airport bookstore. I'm like, oh no, I have to like look at all these books and analyze their structure and everything. But
mhm, mhm.
there's so many.
And I think this is like again like why these kinds of books are so effective. Before we jumped on the live, we were talking about this. Like one of the key things that I always do with my clients is I have them develop a signature method, right? Because this is how you put all of the stuff that you do. And like a lot of my clients are doing so many things, right? Me
Mhm.
personally, like I do EFT, like NLP, somatic experiencing, human
Mhm.
design, business coachings, and neuromarketing, like all of this stuff,
Mhm.
right? And it seems like it's
Mhm.
all over the place and it's hard to talk about if
Mhm.
you don't have a signature method, which then is basically this umbrella under which you put all of your work. And it gives
Mhm.
people a clear idea of the pathway that you take people through, like to go from A to Z. And this is
Mhm.
again like to just kind of connect back to the book is the perfect thing. Like I always tell my clients, one of the amazing lead magnets is your signature method pathway. Mine is the soft method, so the soft pathway, right? To have, 6 plus figures in your business, etc. So like
Perfect.
this is
Sounds enticing.
exact
My curiosity is
exactly.
perfect. Yeah, sounds great.
Exactly, right? So this is just like a mini version, right? Like this is
Yep.
let's say 10 pages, right? Where you're kind of giving people a little rundown, right? And so,
Mhm.
speaking events, whatever it is that you're doing or you're on live or whatever, and people are like, "Oh my God, I would love to work with you," right? Like, how do you work with people? That's always the question they have. How, right? How do you get people this transformation you were talking about the entire time on the live, right? And giving us all of these client testimonials and things. How? And so you give them the pathway. But it's smaller, right? It's great because, it's quick to consume, right? But in
Yeah.
this case, a book is amazing because it really does the entire nurturing process, right?
Mhm.
And it tells people every single aspect of what you do to
Mhm.
get the transformation for your clients. But on top of that, you, as you said, have those stories and those takeaways where then the most important thing happens, which is if someone's going to invest 5 figures plus, right, in working with you, then they're going to be working with you for 6 months, a year, however long. They want to know, who are you? What's your
Yeah.
personality like? And not just that, but like, what's your approach? How do
Mhm.
you think about these things? How do you approach these things? Are you someone who's like, very like disciplined and is going to whip me into shape, right? Or are you someone who's a little softer and is going to work with me on my mindset and my emotions and kind of do all of that? Like, I'm going
Right.
to make my choice on whether or not I work with you based on that, based on the personality that you show through the book and all of these other things, right?
Yeah.
So like I feel like this book is absolutely amazing, right? For giving people a whole rundown of the transformation that you take them through. And I guess that's
Very
why
much.
it's such an incredible tool for signing clients, right?
Yeah. And
So what are those?
also, oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, go. No, 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 please go.
I was also thinking of, you mentioned the kind of client that, that works with you for 6 to 12 months, signing with you for 5 plus figures. They're a specific type of client who, if they're going to drop some money, they probably want to expand their mind. They want to expand themselves, expand their consciousness. Um, and I was just at so I am in a sales boot camp with these other girls, and I was at that coaching program sales um conference. There was a conference, and I met um one of my friends, Amanda, there, and she signed up for their 6-figure mastermind offer, but it had taken her 3 months or so to make sure that this was the one for her.
Mhm.
And she had attended their challenge. She had gone through all, we all have these like online events that we're doing. She had binged the podcast. She had gone on the Instagram. She had done, and she still wasn't sold until she read their book, because she wanted to sink her teeth into something. She just wanted to expand her consciousness in a way that felt like she was really growing and learning. And Instagram wasn't that thing for her. Podcasts weren't that thing for her. But when she could, in the middle of the night and read the book and feel, have that privacy between her and the author, that was when so she told me this. She was like, that was when I was sold on buying this 6-figure coaching program from the sales
Yeah.
girls. So there's also like, if you want to attract a certain type of client, they want a certain type of thing from you. And often
Mhm.
the book, I mean, it doesn't have to be like the biggest book that you've ever written, and like it doesn't have to take you like 12 months to write it by any means. Yeah, you have all this content, repurpose it. But yeah, your clients want that deep, they want to go deeper with you.
And that's the thing. Like that's what I tell my clients as well. It's like the core really of great branding right now is, and it's always been, like creating a little world that people want
Yeah.
to be in, right? It's like world building, right?
Yeah.
Branding is world building, right?
Yeah.
And especially for us, people who create transformations for others, right? We are inviting someone into a whole new world, right?
Mhm.
So for me and for a lot of my clients, actually, like there's this big transformation, which is kind of like can be summarized by you're leaving the masculine way of doing, right? And
Mhm.
hustling and pushing and like going out and chasing and all of that because you burnt out through that. And now you need to move into this more feminine way of being and doing, which is, attraction, right? Like
Mhm.
going within and basically can be also connected to manifestation and those principles and all of that. And that is a
Mhm.
completely different way of being.
It very
And
much
a
is.
lot of us like are not used to it because the outside world is very much masculine energy, right? And so if we want to shift into that, and like I can use myself, like first and foremost as an example, like I, had a very masculine way of thinking, right? Very logical, just in my human design. I have a lot of logical gates and things like that.
Mm.
But on the other hand, like I grew up, I went through 2 wars in my life.
Mhm.
Like lost my dad as well when I was
Mhm.
11 years old. And so it's like a lot, like life pushes you into that way of being. And
Yeah.
so when I wanted to shift into a more feminine way, it felt, I craved it. but it felt so unfamiliar and so unsafe. It felt like such a huge risk. Like, oh, wait, you're telling me that I can slow down and I can still
Mhm.
grow momentum? That like one plus
Mhm.
one does not seem to equal two over there, right? Like it seems very risky. So we really want
Mhm.
to immerse our people into this new world and really show them through all of these like experiences and milestones and little things like how they shift into this other way of being, which is why like, breaking down something like Valerie's method, right? The fluid method, like, you go letter by letter, right? Like in my case, see your magic, own it, flaunt it, tweak it, soft, right? So like,
Love it.
okay, let's let's go and talk about
I'm
like
sold.
how well, thank you very much. So we're talking about like what happens. Like first you gotta see your magic, right? But what are we doing there, right? Like I didn't know who I was, like really fully because I'm a manifesting generator, line two. Like I was the ultimate. I can do anything and everything, right? Like
Mm.
just throw me in it and I'll handle it, right? No problem. Like, but who actually? What is my direction, right? Can I make up my mind? I can't. I don't know. How do I, right? Help me find
Mhm.
myself. So, anyways, like we got to figure out like and show people how we handle all of these things they know they're going to encounter on along the way, right? And that's
Mhm.
why, as your friend said, right, it's like so great to immerse people and basically pull them through the entire journey that you're going to take them on. You basically pull them into that journey through the book, give them the gist of it, so to say, right? Give them the case study, which is either your case study or you sprinkle in your clients,
That's
case
right. That's
studies as
right.
well and stories and all of that. Like, oh, this didn't just work for me, it also worked for Valerie, yada, yada, right?
Right.
And basically, you show people, like, hey, it's safe.
Mhm.
It's safe
That's
to
right.
slow down. It's
That's
safe
right.
to go within and feel your feelings. It's safe to whatever it is because people only and ever buy from a feeling of this is safe and this outcome is certain. If you can't create
Mhm.
those two things, like people are, they're not going to be buying, right?
Mhm.
And they're not going to be signing up with you. They're going to sign up with someone else who's going to give them that feeling, right, of
Mhm.
safety and kind of certainty. So, again, like the
Mhm.
book and taking them through the entire transformation through your method basically creates that, right?
Yep. 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 That's right. Sales
Absolutely.
tool in general. Yep. It's the ultimate sales tool.
That's why it's so amazing. So, like, I know that people right now are probably thinking, like, okay, so, but how do I write this thing and how long is it going to take? Like, I ain't got the time to create this,
Mhm.
or I'm not the writer, right? That can, like,
Mhm.
that is very compelling in her writing. I'm very average in my writing or whatever it is. So, like, these are some of the obstacles that I know people
Yep.
have, in
Yep.
their way. So, how does the process of writing a book like this look like, and how long does it take?
Yes, and you brought up a good point. Yeah, a lot of people think that it's a really big project, that it's gonna take up all my time, that, oh my gosh, it's gonna seem daunting. But I mean, it doesn't have to be. There's the coaching program that I learned how to write and sell books in. They told us that the ultimate, like the best like length that to write a book in is 30,000 words, which is really not that long. And nowadays, with attention spans being shorter, it's pretty common to write a book that's about 10,000 words, and that's fairly short. That's fairly short.
That's 10 blogs. That's 10 to
Yeah,
30 blogs. What are we
yeah,
talking about?
yeah, exactly. 10 to
Doable.
30 blogs. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you can write a blog in an hour, I mean, it's there you go. I think the there so the writing part is like once you have the house built, you just put your furniture in. The the best I think the best use of your time actually with writing a book is really the pre-planning part. So for example, if you're going to build a house, you want to be really solid that the frame of the house is actually the house that you want to be building. It's actually the house that you want to live in, and then you're like, okay, this is actually the house. And then you fill it in. You like put in the walls, and then you put in the furniture, and then you start moving in. So, a lot of people like to start writing. They like to word vomit onto the Word doc. And that's okay if, if you just need to like get the juices flowing and everything. And for, personally, like when it comes to Substack, I one of my newsletters, I'm basically like on a Tuesday, I'm like, okay, start writing. But with a book that is like a mini transformation for your readers, so that they can eventually be added to your pipeline, your sales pipeline, a little premeditation can go a long way. Um, Meaning like getting what we mentioned before, getting really, really clear on your market and the problems that they continue to have despite all the similar books that are like yours, all the free YouTube, all the free Instagram that's still occurring, that's, all this content that's happening, they're still having the same problem. And getting really clear on how you can deliver them a transformation that actually moves them towards the result that they want to have.
Mhm.
Um, and once you have that, then start creating an outline. Like, okay, so this chapter is going to be this intro, and I'm going to lead them eventually so that by the time they finish the book, they're going to end up here. It's like creating like a roadmap or like a guide for them. You're the guide for them up Mount Everest. And so, if you, pre-plan a little bit, where how to get up Mount Everest, then they're going to know how to get up Mount Everest. And so they're going to feel more confident in you. And like you were saying, the certainty of the outcome. If you if you feel certain of the outcome before you start writing, and you know exactly where you're going when you're writing, they're definitely going to feel it too. They're going to be like, okay, I know exactly where this is headed. I know where we're going. Um, and then once you have the outline, once you have the frame of the house, it's just it can be quick. It can be like, because you know it. You've been if you're a coach or a consultant, it's all the things that on repeat in your head over and over and over again. And filling it in is probably going to be actually the easier part than compared to, you know, once you climb Mount Everest once, that one part was like, it's like a little challenging. Then you can climb it again and again and again. And it's easier and easier. So, um, yeah, I would say like, the premeditation part is going to be the winner here.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial. Like, that's what it
Mhm.
really comes down to. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing in marketing, right? Like, you gotta understand who you're talking to, right? Understand what they need to understand in order to trust in this transformation, right? And
Mhm.
basically, like, have those outlines, right? So in this case, let's say we're using your signature method as basically the
Yes.
kind of the bare bones of the book,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then
Yes.
on top of that, as you said, like, we do really need to understand the audience, because like we need to understand the things that we're covering in there from the point of like understanding that they are going to have limiting beliefs, right? They are going to have concerns. Like, those are the biggest things that we really need to overcome, right? In any
Yeah.
kind of writing, right? In
Mhm.
any book and blog post and whatever it is, right? We got to show people like, I see exactly where you are right now,
Yep.
exactly what you think
Exactly.
is in your way, exactly why you think you can't make it through, right? And
Yes.
I'm gonna slash through all of these, right? That's
Yes.
why I said even before, like, like showing people that we understand
Yes.
the things that they've tried before. And this is
Yes.
the other point of it, which is the differentiation part, right? You're
Yes.
literally doing differentiation through what is called contrast positioning. Like, you can't stand out just in a vacuum. You stand out when you stand against something,
That's
right?
right.
So in
That's
my
right.
case, I'm standing against the hustle, the push, right? Like the forcing things and working against your energy, against your feminine cycles, right? And all of these
Mhm.
things, right? You need to find what is aligned for you, right? And there's so many pathways to reach millions and more, right? So what is your pathway, right? Let's find that aligned
Yep.
thing that doesn't drain you, doesn't burn you out, and actually is pleasurable along the way, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
like, and so when people like now, like, we understand who is on the other side, right? And listening to this live, and we're like, well, we understand that you're concerned about how long is this thing going to take, and I'm not a good writer, right? So let's debunk that immediately. Like, hey,
Mhm.
you don't need to be an incredible writer. You don't need to be unique. You don't need to like, spend like a whole year on this, right? You
Mhm.
actually can do it a simpler, easier way, right? And
That's right.
so again, like when you have that structure, as you said, basically that's like the outline, and then you go from the big picture down into the
Yeah.
details. And so we have like the let's say the soft method, right? And so those are kind of the chapters. We can have the intro, we can have some outro. And
That's
then
right.
as we said, like we're gonna have each of the chapters then, let's zoom into that, right? Zoom into the chapter. And now the chapter has its own formula, its own
Yeah.
framework, right?
Yep.
Just like the proven storytelling and copywriting formulas, right? That have been centuries old. And so, okay, let's open up with a story, show people that we understand them, show
That's
that we've
right.
tried what they tried, and we
Yeah.
also thought this is bullshit and it doesn't work. We got to find something else, right? And then here's how we walked through it. Here's how we stumbled. Here's the
Mhm.
situation that we were in, which was like not a good situation. We weren't born with
Mhm.
a silver spoon in our mouth or had money or had like perfect discipline, and yet we still made it over
Mhm.
here to
Mhm.
this other side. And so here's how. Let me explain to you what is going to take you there, right? And now let me
Mhm.
give you a little exercise to help you get started, right? To get a little taste
Exactly.
of this part of the transformation, right?
Exactly.
So either I'm going to give you, which is also like a great actually like first step, which is the clarity, right? So hey, let's like for example, like oh, money blocks. What are your money blocks, right? They're very unique for each person, right? We all grew up with different things, right? So maybe yours is a visibility wound, maybe someone else's is like a confidence thing, et cetera, et cetera. So let me give you some journaling prompts like Jen Sincero does
That's
in
right.
her books, right? Let me give you some
That's right.
journaling prompts and help you figure out,
That's
right,
right.
where you're blocked. And also give you some great journaling prompts to help you make a decision to
Mhm.
move out of this situation because that's
Mhm.
actually like the best thing that we can do for people. They are not really going to take action on the stuff, nor can they take action. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, like, what we're doing, let's say we're an NLP expert, right? Mindset shifting, whatever it is, or hypnosis, or
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
got to go and experience that. The book is not going to give you that. So
Mhm.
if I can get you to that tipping point, as I call it, where you're like, oh, hell, I'm so done with all of this that I have in my life,
Yeah.
and I am
Yeah.
so fucking ready, and I feel deserving of this transformation, and I'm fired up, and I believe that it can happen for me despite what I got going on. And with my circumstances and everything, and I can see how this pathway is the perfect pathway for me. Like,
Mhm.
I'm ready to pull the trigger, right? And so
Mm.
if the book
Mhm.
can get them to pull
Mm.
that trigger through the elimination of the block and,
Yeah.
boosting of their confidence and removing the limiting beliefs, like boom, this book has created your clients, right?
Yeah, because Valerie, so for her book, she's going to have because Fluid very similar to, like, what you're doing, Eva, is like her target market is for, ambitious entrepreneurs who have the business. They're technically successful on the outside, but they're like,
Mhm.
"I have payroll, I have a margin. I have to feed my kids." And you're just on this market, sell, deliver, hamster wheel, market, sell, deliver.
Pressure, yeah.
And it's like, how can you like, this was not at all the freedom I imagined for myself. And I was told by the spiritual guru that if I meditate at 5 a.m. and I will have all the freedom and abundance that I want, then where is it? So Fluid, like Valerie's book, Fluid is meant to be like that interruption, like in their thought pattern, like, hey, like, wake up. And so for her, like, so you could have like a great action guide is like a journal prompt, like you were saying, Eva, like for Jen Sincero's books, she has journal prompts. Other little things you can do, like I remember even in one of her books, she actually told us, or she asked us, give away like a little thing that you love to someone, and don't tell them who it's from. And I remember doing that, and it wasn't even a journal prompt. It was just like, hey, try this. And I remember doing that. I gave a coat that I had to a friend that I was visiting, and her smile and the experience of it, like, changed my life forever. So you can do, like, even little things like that. You can also even have, so Valerie's doing, like, she's gonna have, like, a meditation, so you can, like, scan a QR code in her book, and you can go to her online experience where you can start to experience Fluid for yourself. And so just those, like, you can get creative with it. It can be like
Like the
video.
artist's way. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
this
yeah.
way too? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
And videos
yes,
and podcasts
yes.
and like private podcasts and things
Exactly,
like that.
yes. I love that idea. That I personally have never worked with someone and, but, that's also a great idea, private podcast. Yes, you can get creative with it, and but yeah, like and sometimes for a lot of us, we're like because we're experts in what we do, we sometimes think like, okay, they need like the whole experience, but really like make it like such a the tiniest little win. The tiniest little win, like ask them to just try this one thing.
Hmm.
Ask this one question of yourself tomorrow. How can you and then that's just those little shifts, and then once they get that win, now they're hooked. Now they're on to the next chapter. Hooked.
Hmm.
Next chapter, hooked. And then now they're on a sales call with you. I've seen it so many times. Yeah, it's great.
Because that's the key, right? Like as you said, like those small wins. Because the biggest
Mhm.
issue really is that we want to give people so much,
I know.
but people are not implementing. People don't even implement when they pay big money, let alone like when something is free, right? But if
Mhm.
we can give them something easy to do, right? Like we give them that quick win and we give them that dopamine hit and we give them that proof, right? That like, oh, actually, like this little thing did change how I feel, right?
Yeah,
It like it did seem simple. It did seem like, oh, whatever, this is gonna be whatever. But it actually ended up creating, a little transformation in me.
yeah.
Wow,
Mhm,
okay. And then you give
mhm.
them that kind of a little thing in every chapter.
Yeah.
You get that ball rolling really in the right direction. And that's the whole
Mhm,
point, like getting people rolling in the right direction, like really inspiring them to believe in themselves, right?
mhm,
And to believe in the solutions and the processes and all of this stuff that you're proposing, right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
that's awesome. Let me just see a few comments here. Eric says, I try not to offer solutions. I try to make people think for themselves. Like, yeah, perspective shifts.
Yep.
Like, if just that in itself is a humongous win, actually. Like, if
Yes,
you can shift people's perspective, get them to believe in themselves or whatever it is, right?
that's right.
Like, help
Mhm.
them see the world through different eyes. You literally
Yep.
open up the doorways of opportunities for them because
Yes.
where they saw like a wall, now you're pointing them at like to the door and you're like, hey, the door is actually open and you can walk through it and come and walk a little bit. And oh wow, actually now a whole new world opened up, right?
That's
So
true.
giving people those perspective shifts again, which is why like journaling prompts just on their own like can be enough
Mhm,
to get
mhm.
that ball rolling right in the right direction. So it's freaking
Yes.
awesome. It's freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
and that I mean, that makes sense, like, yeah, you wanna offer them how can they think for themselves? Like, yeah, how can they become the savior of their own story, the hero of their own story? Yeah.
Exactly. We want to empower people. Jonathan also asked me, Eva, are you a Virgo? No, I'm not a Virgo. I'm a Taurus, though. But I have a very logical mind and I'm very organized and all those things. So maybe that's why I give off that
Mhm.
impression.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
in any case, then like, okay, so let's say, so okay, we're writing this book. We create the outline. We
Yep.
have the chapter little framework formulas for writing each chapter. So,
Yeah.
like, easy peasy, we can write this thing. All right.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
doable. You
Yeah.
said that it's either like 10,000 words, 30,000 words. I
Yep.
love, there's a couple of people that I also follow that are also kind of like about like writing books. And it's like the mini book, right? Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
write a freaking book, you can write a mini book, right? And
Yes.
this is actually, in my opinion, much better because we're not writing this book as like a novel. We're not, like, we're not doing something like revolutionary, so to say, over here. But we are trying to inspire people to go after this transformation and we're opening up their
Mhm.
world to a new way of going about it, right? And so
Mhm.
we are doing this with the purpose of getting people into our world and into our method
Mhm.
of doing things that we believe in wholeheartedly, right? Because we tried other things and we were disappointed, right? And so
Mhm.
if we can write a shorter book, it's going to be so much easier for people to go through it,
Yeah.
right? So let's write a book of 10,000 words, which is basically 10 blog posts.
Yeah.
Say,
Yeah.
hell yeah,
Yeah.
give me that,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that is doable, right? If
Yes.
that is doable, then
Mhm.
we can basically, this can happen in 2 months. You can write a
Yeah.
whole book in 2 months.
If if you consistency is key.
Mhm.
Setting aside time is key. Some people are like, "Oh my gosh, like I have so much going on," but like, I mean, plan for like yeah, I mean, like, imagine going away to like, every I mean, I remember I was like, I carved out 2 hours at every day, and I really enjoyed those 2 hours. Those were my time. I enjoyed the process of writing, and like you were saying, it's like 10 blog posts. Yeah, I mean, like, we're on Substack, we're writing all the time, and writing has this cathartic experience that you're like, "Oh, I'm actually, like, putting clarity to my all the thoughts in my head." So imagine it being like going to the spa. Like, "Ooh, I get to
Mhm.
carve out 2
Mhm.
hours every day to go to the spa?" That sounds amazing, right? So you could think of it
Yeah.
that way. And you have a book at the end, sales
There
tool at
you
the end.
go. And it like, in my opinion, you can also use, voice to text. Like, you can
Yes,
voice
that's
transcribe
right.
this book. Because me
Yes, you
personally,
can.
I'm a manifesting generator, defined throat. Like, it is, I feel like writing is very slow for me. So even
Okay.
when I'm writing blogs, the way that I go about it is I
Mm.
voice transcribe.
Oh,
Like,
really? Oh,
I hate, like, I can just lay around and I'm like, "Ooh, and then this thing, and then, yeah, I wanna share this opinion," and yada, yada, right? So, like, basically, I'm just voice transcribing everything. God bless Otter.ai, or
yeah, yeah.
anything else that you wanna use. But, like, it's such a great way, and I actually, like, sometimes I need to slash these things because I end up talking for 15 minutes, and, like, who's gonna read 15 minutes of a blog, right? So I'm like, okay. So, anyways,
That
like,
sounds great.
voice transcribing ends up being such a great, like, fast way to write this. And so again,
Mhm.
if you have the outline, the framework, the formula, however you want to call it, in your mind, like, start with the story, then
That's a
share
really
what you
great point.
tried, all of
Yeah,
that, right? Like, if you have it, like, in front of you, written on your palm, and you're going out and you're walking your dog or
that's a
whatever it
really good
is, like,
point. Yeah,
you can go for a walk and actually, like, write the book,
very
right?
much.
Instead of, like,
Yes.
sitting in front of the computer, because I don't like sitting in front of the computer. I feel like
Yes.
stuck, in front of
Yeah,
it. So that can
yeah,
be a good way to go about it,
yeah.
right?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, I hired a coach once, and she had a client that he writes novels, but
Mhm.
he wrote an entire series, a science fiction series by, going on he hiked, and as he was hiking, he would transcribe the novels into well, I guess at the time, it was a voice recorder, not the phone, but same thing. And he wrote an entire it was a s I don't know exactly what series it was, but it was pretty successful, and yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah, whichever way feels creative for you, you get the juices
Exactly.
flowing. Mhm.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I always tell people, like, if one pathway doesn't feel good for you, just open up some curiosity, right? And, like, what other
Mhm.
pathways could there be, right? And try out some other ways. And, like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
actually, I love yapping. Like, let me just yap this book away,
That's great.
basically.
That's a great title for something there. Yeah, this book of America. Put that in my back pocket.
Yap your book. Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, you feel free to take that. No worries.
No, no, no. We'll create something. Something, something.
Awesome. And Simone asked, that's a great concept, the mini book, and been writing out a book for a year now, and it's basically
Mhm.
already done.
Oh,
Simone,
great.
let us know what your questions are. By the way, guys, Simone has also been on a live here with me,
Yeah.
so you can go check her out as well. But and then Eric says, I write 5 notes about 100 words each, one post, 1,500 words, one audio podcast, one video, screen reader every day. Like, that's a
Wow.
pretty hefty posting rhythm. That's a lot.
Okay, okay.
God bless. God bless. And again, like, you can, I mean, like, it takes time to get to, like, that kind of a rhythm, right? Like, and again,
Um,
like, you gotta make the process really nice and cozy. Again, I used to
mhm,
hate sitting in front of the laptop, but then I was like, I feel like I'm just sitting down and like this, right? And
mhm,
so
mhm.
one day I was like, okay, let me just kind of walk away from this for a second. I was looking around and I'm like, damn, every time I sit in front of the computer, I forget everything and I'm just sucked into this thing. What if
Mhm.
I, like, have a little candle here? What if I have, like, my little blankie over there? What if I have, like, some aromas, going out, and, like, all of this stuff, right? All this music, like, which music? Which
Good,
music puts
good.
you in which kind of a mood? I realized, like, oh, I can't write if I have lyrics in the music, right?
Oh my gosh.
And exactly, and I can't write if it's like something like very upbeat, right? Like it depends. Like if I want to put myself in a specific mood for the writing, like okay, I'm gonna put that kind of a playlist, right? So like all these
Mhm,
things
mhm,
really play a
mhm,
big role, and so I'm just sharing this because not everyone is really sensitive to what is happening within them, right? But I want to point you to that and like really actually be sensitive to
mhm.
how you're responding, right, to all of these things, and maybe that is
Right.
going to help you create in an easier way. But
Yes.
then
Right.
what happens after we create the book? Like I know that now Simona that has written her book, tell us
Mhm,
about that really big piece of really
mhm,
promoting the book, right? And I'm
mhm,
also just kind of like thinking to myself, like, is our of course like we would all love to have like a bestseller book and all that kind of stuff, but like that's a really big goal, especially if you're writing this book as someone who doesn't have a huge audience. Let's say you have
mhm,
like 3,000 people in your audience, right? Should you even write a book if you have that many people in your audience, right? Is it the right time, or should you first build your audience,
mhm,
right? And does it
mhm,
even matter to end up on any kind of a list, right? Does that even matter, or is it more about I have this book and I can pass it around or drive my all of my new people to it, right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
tell us about all that.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that those are the conversations that are going on through Substack all the time. I see notes all the time about like, I got a publisher. I got an agent. Should I get an agent? Should I get a publisher? Should I self-publish? Should I go for the bestseller list? Does it matter? I don't know. And I got this award. Should I apply for this award? I don't know. There's definitely a lot of it's kind of like I don't know if you've ever like applied to like college or something. For someone who's never applied to college, it's like, should I go for Harvard? Should I apply for Georgia Tech? Should I apply for and even if I apply for Harvard, like what does that mean? Do I have to pay like scholarship? And it can be so overwhelming. And if this is the first time you've ever published a book, I would say do the things that feel the most fun, digestible, exciting to you. If it starts to feel like if you wanna hit the New York Times bestseller list, but getting there feels like the worst thing in the world and you're, like, freaking out all the time and you don't know what you're doing and it feels heavy, then forget the New York Times bestseller list. Like, it's like there's all these, like in the book world, just like with anything, there's all these, like, things that allow prestige. And my personal opinion is, I mean, prestige gets you somewhere, but it's like a sticker. It's like this, like, yay, you did something, but are you actually making an impact? That's the real question. So I would say focus more on doing the thing that can get you to um my
Your
personal
goals?
opinion. I'm sorry.
Your goals? Like what is actually the goals that
Yeah,
you have?
your goals. Um, and oftentimes, if it may, yes, exactly, if your goals. If it means growing your business, if it means impacting more people, if it means helping more people have a deeper transformation, I do think that you need to sell books. I do think that selling more books is more important than, winning an award or, we're doing a workshop right now, and there's an amazing author in there. Her name is Cheyenne, and she's won awards for her book. I mean, people are loving her book. People are leaving reviews. They're saying they love it, but at the same time, it's not selling. And so because it's not selling, there's that void within you that's like, I could be making there's that part of your soul. It's like, I want to be contributing so much more, and it's not happening. Um, so there's this effect that happens when you start selling, when you have when you start selling books, there's this effect that happens. It's like a critical mass. So, like, once there's, like, enough books of yours out there, that means that Mary can talk to Sally, Sally can talk to Josephine, Josephine can talk to back to Sally and Mary, and everyone's now talking about you and your book. And that's when it starts to go viral. That's when you start to get that wildfire effect. That's when people start to talk about the way that your book has helped them. And that's when your book becomes your employee. that's when everyone's like, have you heard about Eva? Have you heard about Cheyenne? Have you heard about this book? And that can only happen if there's enough books out there ab- about, your books out there. And it's called there's a word for it called network effects. And the analogy is like when fax machines were really popular. It was really hard to kind of get people to send faxes because only one person had a fax machine. And so Sarah Blakely, she used to sell fax machines before she founded Spanx. So she's one of the people that's like, do you want a fax machine? Do you want a fax machine? Do you want a fax? So you can sell more fax machines so that more people can send faxes so that more people can actually communicate with each other. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to a point where there's enough books out there that people can have conversations, people are talking about you, people are getting transformed by you, and therefore people are ending up in your pipeline to become your client. So for example, if once you finish your book, I would recommend, so some people like to, once they finish their book, and for example, if you are self-publishing, a lot of people just like to upload to Amazon. It's like uploading to Google Drive. You upload your book to Amazon, and then you hit publish, and then you start promoting afterwards. And what that often looks like is it looks like this social media grind because you're just like making post after post after post after post, and not enough people are talking about your book, and so it's just like this grind feeling. The other hand is what you can do is that you can actually have what's called a launch runway. So instead of uploading your book to Amazon right away, you can take a pause and you set a date 6 months from now and say, okay, from the 6 months between now and that date, I'm going to gather people and they're going to read my book before it goes live for the public. I'm going to pre-sell my book. And those actions do one of two things. Actually, two things. One, they are now poised to leave a review of your book once your book is now live for the public. So now, if you have like 100 people on what's called your advanced reader team, when your book actually goes live 6 months from now, they are now leaving a review of your book when it goes live. And so the public then sees 100 reviews of your book ready to go. They're like, oh, whatever book this is, I want this book. It has 100 reviews already. There was this like Ulta catalog that I got like several months ago, and it was like Beyonce had just released her hair care line, and that ad had like Beyonce's hair care line. It already has 5,000 5-star reviews. And so it's like, wow, well, whatever Beyonce's hair care line is, it sounds awesome. And that could be you and your book rather than like you trying to promote your book and it only has like 20 reviews on it. When was the last time that you bought something on Amazon that has 20 reviews, right? So it helps to kind of like prime the pump beforehand.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
feel like that's the same thing. Like, I mean, I would compare it to launching any kind of offer, right? Like,
Yes.
here's a couple of things that I realized like along the way, and watching some people like launch their books, right?
Mhm.
First of all, like what the reason why I asked about like that bestseller list and all that kind of stuff, like what it really is the goal with your book, right? Of course, we want
Exactly.
to end up on any kind of bestseller list because that means that we've sold enough books, right? It's in the
Mhm.
hands of many people, right? But if it's
Mhm.
your first book and you have an audience of 3,000 people, right, you're not going to end up there. But should that deter you from, writing this book? No, because if your goal for having this book is to have something to give to your audience, to basically show them exactly how you would lead them through the transformation and have them end up in your signature program, your coaching program, group coaching, mastermind, whatever it is, right? That
Right.
you wholeheartedly believe in and provide a
Right.
great transformation in, then I don't care if it like ends up on the bestseller list, right? And this thing is going to be my conversion asset for a
Mhm.
long, long, long time. Like this is
Mhm.
basically what I'm going to be giving to everyone, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's the first thing, like in my mind, like I don't care about like ending up on the bestseller list, right? Awesome if it happens, right? But I'm not like gonna die if I don't, right? Or cry about it. But
Yeah.
the other things that I've noticed along the way is TikTok has gotten me to buy a couple of books.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
they've
Mhm.
been like short books, right? They've been
Okay.
books of like 100 pages.
Okay.
one of them was like this manifestation book.
Mhm.
And this guy, basically, what he was doing is he was using one of the 21 viral video styles that I've identified by going on a deep dive into TikTok and all of that, which is the doodle style, where you're not showing your face or anything, you're just showing a piece of paper or something that you're drawing on or something is written on.
Okay.
People always stop for those kinds of things. They always pause and like read, right? And
Cool.
so, or watch what you're drawing or whatever it is. Now that you see it, like, pay attention because you're gonna
Yeah.
see, like, those kinds of videos always go viral. Anyways, what he was doing is he had, like, just one piece of paper, right, that he would
Mhm.
print out with something from his book, right, a paragraph from his book. So
Okay.
before he even had the book, he would print out pieces of it, right, like, really good paragraphs that could stand on their
Interesting.
own, and
Yeah.
he would use the pen, right, he would use the pen to
Uh-huh.
basically read it out loud, right? And yet
Um,
people, because the insights were standalone, great insights, can't
Uh-huh.
fit into a 60-second TikTok or reel or whatever, or YouTube shorts. They
Yep.
were like, oh my God, I love this insight. They liked
Uh-huh.
it. They shared it with their friends, right? And of
Uh-huh.
course, he was saying, like, this is a part of my book that's going to come. Jump on the wait list. So he
Uh-huh.
built a wait list for this book.
Perfect.
People
Yes.
already knew what was
Yes.
kind of going to be in the book, right?
Yes.
And so
That's great.
then they end up basically being the advanced readers, giving him the reviews.
Yes.
The book launched, and now it's like Kindle and e-reader and all of the versions, right?
Right.
Another person was doing also like on TikTok. Basically, he had the book already, right? And he was reading from the book. And I was like, I kept seeing like all of these excerpts from the book, and I kept like saving stuff because I was like, damn, this is really nicely put. Like, I love this perspective. It's like hitting home for me, right, around this
Mhm.
topic. And so I kept saving all of these TikToks, and I was like, why the hell am I saving this stuff? Like, how much is this book? Like, oh, $15. Give me the damn book. Right? Like, give me the whole thing because
That's
I
great.
kept seeing the stuff and I was like, give me the book. And
That's
then
great.
finally, another person is also like has the book and is doing TikTok lives. And
Uh-huh.
every single night, they're reading from the book. They have like a nice little
Okay.
background, like some kind of space and stars and whatever it is. And then the headline of the book, and they say, like, I'm reading from this book, and then the cover of the book, and they're reading from the book. And the same thing is those TikToks. It's like, I don't care that you're reading from the book. I'm going to go and buy the whole thing so I can have it. I can read the whole thing through. I don't have to like randomly catch your TikTok to listen to it or whatever it is, right? Like, I
Sure.
love what you're putting out. And so I'm going to go
Mhm.
buy
Mhm.
this $15 book. It's like less than what I pay for lunch, right? It's like,
Sure.
yes, absolutely, give it to me. So I've
Mhm.
seen
Mhm.
those kinds of ways of
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
really being amazing for
Mm.
again, like promoting, like not launching, but like, yeah, launching also, like creating a wait list for it and then
Yeah.
selling it
Mhm.
after it's been out, right? And
Yeah.
continuing to sell this
Mhm.
book.
Yep.
And some people also on top of that have had, accompanying workbooks, right? Just like the
Yeah.
artist's way, right? It's like you go through 12 weeks of the process of the artist's way, but then you also have the artist's way workbook, right? You can have a
Mhm.
journal
Mhm.
like alongside it or whatever, like if it makes
Yeah.
sense for you, right? You can have something like that. But
Right.
in any case, you can always have, as you said, like, I love that idea of like having a QR code and driving people to your website to like
Yep.
go and experience, let's say, a meditation, right? Or
Yep.
an EFT tapping, right? Or a
Mhm.
hypnosis or whatever it is. And that, when you're running a business, right, and you want to provide people with more of a transformation, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
on that page, you can also offer them a digital product. You can also say, like, hey, I
Yep.
gave you this daily tapping to use to,
Yep.
be in a state of confidence, right?
Mhm.
Or manifestation or whatever it is, right? But
Mhm.
you know yourself that there's this, and this to take care of as well. Like, let's remove
Right.
your visibility blocks and money blocks and all of these things.
Right.
So, hey, I have a little, digital product that helps you just remove the money blocks. Or you can jump into my entire course that helps you remove all of these. Like, and
Yeah.
basically by guiding them away from the book and onto your website, and into that little taste of an experience, right? Like, oh, now I know how EFT feels, right? I know
Mhm.
that it's given me a little tangible shift, right? I felt
Mhm.
the shift inside of me. I love how you're
Mhm.
delivering it. Ooh, let me try this little digital product, which I call an appetizer, right? Give me that
Yes,
little appetizer for like
that's right.
$37. Wow,
Yep.
also, this is working. Okay, I want to jump into the whole thing. So, like, one thing leads to another,
That's
right?
right.
Our book, if you are in business, right, you're not writing this because you just want to write a book, right? If you are in business, your
Mhm.
goal is to get people the full transformation. So let's lead them away from the book and into the experience, which you then
Mhm.
again can only provide in the hypnosis that you give them, right? Or the course that takes them through the whole thing, or the mastermind, or whatever it
Yep.
is, right?
Right, right. Yeah. Um, and you also mentioned, if you have like a small audience and if your goal is to provide transformations, but maybe you feel nervous and shy because you have a small audience, bringing people onto your wait list is a great way to grow your audience because of your book. So people are saying, I don't want to launch my book yet because I don't have a big audience yet. But what if your book is actually the way to grow your audience, right? So that happened with my client Beth. Like she doubled her email list size during the launch period of her book, because of promoting and growing that wait list.
Awesome. And I think,
Yeah.
like, have you ever done something like Alex Hormozy or any kind of like thing like that where, if someone, what did Alex do? He was like, he sold something. I forgot. I didn't go into his whole thing. But he sold something. Let's say you sell a coaching session, right? And so
Mhm.
if you buy the coaching session, you're going to get the book and you're also going to get 10 more books,
That's right.
right? In his
Bonuses,
case,
yeah.
he was like giving away 100 books, right? If you pay
That's
for
right.
this coaching program, this $5,000 thing, if I'm correct or something,
Yeah.
and then it's like you get the book for yourself, but you also get 100 of them, and you get to
Mhm.
pass them away, like pass them along to someone else,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
this is a great way. It's like, okay, I'm buying this thing, right?
Yep.
I'm buying
Mhm.
also the session with you. Like I can either buy the book on its own for myself, okay, but I love you already. And you're telling me that if
Right.
I sign up for this session with you that I already was kind of thinking of signing up for, you're going to give me 10 of those. And I get to be
Right.
generous and give them away to my audience or to my
Yep.
friends or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
boom, you immediately
Yep.
get ten more people reading this thing, right?
That's right, that's right. Yeah, bonus strategies are, really fun. My client Amy, so she we you can get really creative with it. So you can do like one, if you do buy one book, you get this one bonus. But if you buy 10 books, you get this extra bonus. You buy 100 books, like she has this offer where she'll like it's like let's talk. Like we'll do like a mutual creative session for your company or something like that. So you can definitely get creative, and that's what like Valerie, that's what we ideated on, like, what are the bonuses that we can provide so that so that you can sell more books. You're not just selling onesies and twosies, but you can also sell possibly 100 at once, and that then you're really starting to you're having fun with that critical mass like we were talking about.
Exactly, and expanding and all of that. Oh, I love it.
Mhm,
Like there's
mhm,
so many great ideas. So many
mhm.
great ideas. Let me see what people have been talking about. Whew. I've written 9 books. I don't have much of an audience. I don't see the need to worry about audience. I enjoy writing. Some people enjoy
Some
writing.
people, yeah.
Me personally, like I'm not a fan of sitting down and writing, right? Which is why I like voice to text things, right? And it's
Mhm,
like so much easier for me to like just jump on a live video or just kind of like do these things, right? So sitting down to write
mhm.
a book is like, oh my God, no. And if I am to do a book, then it has to have like, a really a big purpose. I have to have like a big why for this,
Right.
right? And so I know that's like, hey, I want to do this to leave a legacy, right? Because I
Mhm,
want my, future children and nephews and all of them, like I want to leave all of this wisdom for them, right?
mhm,
But I
mhm.
know that like I can get started with, a book that is going to help me expand, my impact and share my methodology and all of that stuff. And then
Mhm,
as I kind of break the ice with that, let's move on to the next book and the next book and kind of keep
mhm,
diving into the
mhm.
different little aspects of the method, right? And
That's
like
right.
going deeper into all of the things and illuminating all
Mhm.
of the beautiful stuff, right? Great.
Yes. Once you write one book, you're hooked. You're like,
It's
"What's my next
yeah.
one?"
Because like the ideas keep coming in,
Yeah.
right? And now that you know the framework, now you know how it feels, how it goes, and all of that, it's like 100 times easier, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's like baking a
Awesome.
cake for the first time, and you're like, "Oh, I want to make more
Yeah,
cakes. Let's try it again."
those are delicious.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love this. Wow, thank you, Renee, for all of this. Like
Yes, thank you, Eva. Yeah,
so many
we could talk
insights.
for
And
so much more. Yeah.
you said that you wanted to pick my brain. Do you want to pick my brain on something, or
There's you mentioned so many things about human design that I am super curious about, and I've dabbled personally in human design, but have never really. I mean, when you it's so native for you. You're like, I have this like line too, and like my throat's open, and like, and you're like saying these things, and I'm like, wow. I mean, it sounds like you know yourself so well, and that's a superpower in itself. So, if you were to recommend, myself or anyone who wants to know themselves as deeply as you clearly know yourself, like, where would you begin? How would you recommend to begin learning and reading and exploring?
it's really easy to kind of get started with human design. And like what I love about it is that it is so freaking precise because it is a
Mhm,
blend of a couple of sciences. So there's astrology in it, there's Yi Jing, there's Kabbalah, there's the chakra system. So it
mhm,
really, it's
mhm,
like, let's say it's based on astrology. And so let's say I'm a Taurus, right? But in human design, I'm a very specific type of Taurus, right? Like I have a specific gate, as we call it, which is a specific expression. There's like 5.5 gates within each Taurus, five different expressions of being a Taurus, right? Because we're not all the same. So it's
okay.
really like precise in all these things. But
Mhm, mhm,
what that's what you're gonna love about it, which is like the reason why people find it and they're like, wow, okay, this is illuminating so much. And it's
mhm,
really validating and it's giving you also permission slips to be yourself because it's like, hey, you operate this way, right? This is how you best work. This is how your energy best flows. So once you know that, you don't shame yourself or,
mhm,
like talk bad about yourself or push yourself in a direction that is not really meant for you. So like there's the beautiful benefits of it. And to get started, it's really easy. All you need is to know your time of birth, your date of birth, and your location of birth.
mhm,
Sometimes people don't know their time of birth, so that's a whole, other issue. Um, it's always great to like, first of all, like in most countries, in your birth certificate, you have that written down. In some countries, you don't, which is
mhm,
unfortunate. So now you got to ask your parents and all of that, and you can kind of get an approximate time, right? It's always best to have the specific time because some things, some details within the chart are dependent on it, but the big stuff is still going to stay the same, right? It's not going to change even if you're like 2 hours off, 3 hours off. So it can kind of
okay,
stay the same. So,
okay,
anyways,
okay,
know your time, date, and location of birth. And then you can go to myhumandesign.com
okay,
and you can basically pull your chart over there. Anywhere you want, like myhumandesign.com, Jenna Zoe is great.
mhm,
Um, and you can get started basically by going and following me. I have my human design publication here on Substack. And so in there, as soon as you sign up, you're actually, this is what I love. As soon as you sign up in the first welcome email, you're going to get my Notion board, basically like a whole database. And it's going to take you on a pathway. And it's like, get your chart. And then you have the human design 101, right? And it's going to explain to you what the hell this thing is. And what are these things that I'm looking at? What are these colored in triangles and squares and lines and all of that? It's going to explain all of that juicy stuff.
it's fantastic.
Yes, and then in the other, pages of this Notion board, you're going to have all the other explanations. I love and everyone has been loving the series on like the money blocks of each of the centers, which kind of are similar to chakras. Um,
Mhm,
so anyways, you have a whole
mhm,
rundown of everything in there. And then if you really love consuming like video, I absolutely recommend you go to YouTube and you find Crystal Alfarero. Basically, as soon as you enter human design, you're going to find Crystal.
okay,
Um, so the human design revolution, she and I were working together in the human design academy. I was her support coach in there. And she absolutely blew up on YouTube in the meantime. Like, of course, started small, all of that. And then, by now she's the biggest YouTube human design creator on there. And I love her
Oh,
because like the way that she delivers information, that's what everyone loves about her. The way that she delivers all the information is really clear. So like you can go
mhm.
like watch the video on like what is a generator? Who am I? Oh, this profile, like 2-4 profile. What the hell does that mean? Right. And she's gonna give you an incredible video around all of that and give you like the full rundown so you can understand all of it. And then
Gotcha.
basically like it's gonna be a little bit of a it depends on who you are and how you know how you love to consume and how much you love to consume information. I can take on a lot of information. When I go
Mhm.
down a rabbit hole, like I'm insatiable. My brain just doesn't get tired at all.
Oh,
But but so there's a lot of information to go through. But of course, you can always just kind of get started with the basic stuff, your type and your profile. So I'm a manifesting generator. So that's like the kind of like I'm a Taurus, right? I'm a manifesting generator, and I'm a 2-4 profile. So that like the profile is kind of like how your personality expresses itself, right? Like the gist of it. So
mhm.
like alongside that, there's your authority, which is how you make decisions. This is so powerful. So if you know your type, your profile, and your authority, basically you're gonna be like riding the wave and flowing through life, right? So just understanding those things, you're going to understand how your energy operates, right? And what's kind of in alignment for you and what's not. And then you can get into all of the other stuff, which then it becomes juicy. Really, like I'm doing a series on the it factor of each of the gates. And so you can really understand, like, oh, this is my it factor. My sun is in this gate, which means that I have these qualities, these gifts, but I also have these shadows. I also have this side of me that is, the misaligned side, right? It's not the bad side. It's not, it's not blocking me. It's just when I'm not really operating how I'm supposed to be, I operate this way, right?
Mhm.
So, anyways, there's a lot you can, guys, anyone here, including you, of course, Renee, we're definitely going
Yeah.
to have a conversation in the DMs. You
Yeah.
can reach out and ask me anything, and I'll point you in
Sure.
the right direction, share all the links and all that juicy stuff. But
Can't
it's
wait.
absolutely incredible. Like, I've, I personally, like I said before, like I was very confused around like which direction should I go in, like what is really in alignment for me because I could do so many things, right? And human design really helped me understand who I am and how I best operate. And also, like, it's so powerful in business and branding,
Mhm.
especially in branding, right? But even in
Mm.
business, like, I can see your chart and immediately, as I see it, I know exactly, what kind of a business model suits you, right? What kind of strategies suit you? What kind of platforms suit you, right? I know, like, if you have an open throat, you don't enjoy speaking too much, don't be on the camera all the time. Don't start a podcast, right? It's not sustainable for you because you don't have that consistency in you, right? You kind of go up and then boom, right? So I know like what is sustainable for someone, and this is why both Valerie and I love using human design in our work, to help entrepreneurs with it because I know exactly how to make your business sustainable for you so you don't burn out, right? And you
Mhm.
actually enjoy the things that you're doing because they're absolutely in alignment with the gifts that you have. So it feels like second nature. It doesn't feel like I have to push, right? And
Mhm.
force things, right? And push myself to do it. Like, no, you're doing what you enjoy, what is in alignment with your gifts, right? The way that you operate, the way that your energy is expressed, then like you just naturally do it. It's just kind of easy for you, right? So
Mm. Sounds very interesting.
it is very interesting. I can't wait to get you in that like rabbit hole because it's
Oh my god,
amazing.
can't wait. A
We'll
topic
talk
after.
in the DMs. But before
Yeah.
we say bye to everyone, let us know how can they work with you? What you got going on?
Yeah, I'm over at Smokin' Hot Books on Substack. So it's SMOKIN without the G. So Smokin' Hot Books. And we love talking about book marketing there. We love talking about book success. We are currently I'm actually running a workshop right now. And we're getting, the people who really can benefit from this workshop are those who have already published books and they are not quite finding the success that they really are craving. And so we're reshifting the perspective on what it means to relaunch your book to actually find success, and help you grow your business and get exposure. So there's a workshop going on. Head over to Smoking Hot Books, and you'll find that over there.
In the blog that I'll post from this live below, you're going to find the link to Renee's website and everything else. So you can go and check that out. You don't have to remember, the website that she shared. So you could just go below and check it out and go and see the workshop and anything else that she's got going on. If you're interested in doing your own book and building your authority and building your income through this book that doesn't have to take long to write.
Nope, not at all.
And
It
can,
can be
yeah,
very fun.
very doable, very doable. Okay, like we're convinced
Thanks
now,
so
hopefully.
much.
Guys, thank you so much for being with us today. Drop any questions that you have afterwards in the comments. We're always here to answer and help out. And then I'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much, Eva. Appreciate your
Thank you,
time.
Renee. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.